So I'm going to do a quick comparison of three of the spreadsheet tools that we can use in Linux. I'm using Ubuntu 20.10. This is a desktop PC with an AMD 5800X and 64 gig of RAM. The spreadsheet I've opened in the three applications I'm going to look at, so it's all cached. I'm going to look at Excel via CodeWeaver's crossover. That's the 32-bit version of Excel 2016. LibreOffice and WPS Office. So this is the spreadsheet I'm going to use. It's a real spreadsheet, but I've scrambled the data so that it's no longer confidential data. So let's first open it with Excel. I have 3 monitors on this machine, so the spreadsheet might open in a random monitor. See how it goes. Okay, it's loaded up on the main monitor, which is good. Right, so let's have a quick look at this spreadsheet. First of all, I'll turn on filtering, and we'll just jump down to the end of the sheet. So there's about 210,000 rows in this spreadsheet. So in Excel, performance is good. This is the fastest performing of the three applications I'm going to look at. So for instance, if we wanted to filter on SKU, let's just find all SKUs which begin with Gen. Oops. So that's quite responsive. Let's undo the filtering. Let's select all. Okay, now what's another test we can do? Let's scroll here. Let's go back to the top of the spreadsheet, and let's insert a column. Let's construct a formula. So let's take this value and multiply it by a random number. Between 1 and 10. Okay, now I'll just double click it to expand it down. So can't complain about that speed. That's good. Maybe I can try filtering and deleting rows just to get a look at that. So let's go back to a SKU. Let's repeat our filter for Gen. What does that do? So this is using multiple cores when it can. I just peaked at 40% of my CPU capacity there. So we've got, so now I know. Let's try that again. It's finished. So if I use the keyboard to select the rows, so I've selected 61,000 rows. Let's delete those rows. Okay, so that's good. They're all deleted. And let's save as to give this a new name. So savings a bit odd in the Linux version of this, partly because I haven't mapped my home directory very sensibly as well. I think drive Y is mapped to my home. Yep. I'll save it back where it came from, and I'll call this example spreadsheet. I'll call this Excel mods, and let's save that. You can see down here. So admittedly, that's now a much smaller spreadsheet. If I undo the delete, which is pretty computationally intensive, but completed really quickly. Now I'm back to my full spreadsheet. Let's save that. So that's Excel. It's stable and performed quite well. Right. This is the one we started with. Let's open it with the free as in free beer WPS app. And this one did open on another monitor. So the opening has completed, so it's fast as well. Okay, it opened really quickly. If I turn on filtering, we have some nice filtering options in this product. So let's just see right away we can select unique items and duplicate items. We get to select the inversion, we can clear our filter. Now that's very fast as well. We've filtered everything there. Let's try the deletion test. I'm not using the keyboard this time. I don't know why. Okay, shift click to select everything and right click and delete. So that just peaked at 100% of my CPU capacity. So that managed to use my maximum loading of 16 SKUs. So there's nothing there, the filtering worked. Let us undo the delete. Once again, it's peaked at 100% CPU. There's a little progress down here. That's pretty fast as well. And it's back. So let me insert a column. Go to the top. Turn off my filtering. You select all to turn it off. Here's my blank column. Let's go back to the top. And let's put in the same formula. Random between 1 to 10. And let's use that to write out the formula. This is slower. So I've got a 100% CPU going on here on my machine. So this is a big gap to Excel. It's very, very busy, but not making much progress. I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, that took about 15 more seconds and it's finished. Didn't crash, it was just very slow. So there's something very inefficient about that process in WPS Office. Let's try saving that. Okay. Didn't get a clear indication when it finished. It either happened really quickly. Or it's still running. There's no indication that it's still running. I'll just try and close this now and see what it does. I can see from my CPU indicator that it might have still been saving in the background there. We're still running at about 1 core, but definitely finished now. Okay, so that's all good. Let's open this one again. This time I'm going to open it with LibreOffice. And it's opening on another window. So this is slow. Opening and saving is slow. And converting it to the native format of LibreOffice doesn't make that much difference. It's not slow because it's Excel format. It's just slow. It's not doing this in parallel. I've not much anyway. I've got 20% of my CPU capacity used. It's more than 1 core, but it's certainly not using all the cores. Okay, we're here. Let's turn on filtering. As this version 7, and one thing that's got a lot faster is filtering. This used to be horribly slow. Now it's competitive. Well, selecting the filter value is competitive. The actual filtering is still quite painful. Okay. That's not bad. So I just right-clicked to access delete, and there's a delay. Tried it again. So once again, I've got some CPU activity, about 20% of the available capacity. No response yet to my right click. And can't delete from here. So here's one row. That's it. It's so slow, it's basically unusable. It's a very frustrating experience. I don't know what it's doing. You can see from the CPU that it's a little bit busy. Okay, so I deleted one row after a long wait. It's probably a warning that I shouldn't get too ambitious about deleting lots of rows at once. It's really struggling to deal with this spreadsheet. Now the UI is not responding. I'll pause the recording. Okay, it's back. So that was a long wait. I'm not going to try and delete all the rows here. And I suspect undo. Oh, this time I've got a busy mouse cursor. Clearly this is going to be slow as well. Pause the recording again. I'm not going to proceed with LibreOffice. It's slow. So LibreOffice has some good points. It has some power user features like regular expression, search and replace, for which there is no equivalent with Excel or WPS Office. And it's very, very good at working with CSV, so I prefer it to Excel a lot, actually, for CSV work. But this is poor. It's not usable. So, first place goes to Excel. Install via crossover from my Microsoft 365 subscription. The installer is, you download the online installer. I usually do that from a Windows VM because until recently you had to download the offline installer, and that definitely required you using a browser that convinced Microsoft you were currently using Windows. So I don't actually know if that's necessary for the online installer. I do it out of habit. Once you've got the installer, it's an easy process, a slick process, and you can see from my previous recording that Excel is quite stable. It works really well. In fact, it was the most stable of the three tools that I used with this large spreadsheet. Silver goes to WPS Office. It's not quite as fast. There are some moments when it doesn't deal very well with the algorithm to insert data, for instance. It gets busier than Excel. It really hits every core I have. And this is a powerful machine. It still takes a lot longer. And it did crash once or twice while I was working with the real version of this spreadsheet, something which didn't happen with Excel. But 2 or 3 years ago, Excel or Office on Linux was not actually terribly stable, to be honest, but it's certainly good now. I have a lot of confidence in it.